Static routing. So we are going to configure today what? Static routing here. So we have already these networks here, 10 network of 30, 50 and 70, and we want to connect them together. Now if we see, they can communicate together in this because they are in the same network, they are in the LAN network, but they are not able to communicate with these other machines, other networks. Now if they want to connect to this other network, then they need what? They need the connection from their network to other network. They need a router to connect them. And for in a real time, in real scenario, what we have a WAN connection. Here we are not having a WAN connection, so we did what? We connected the cable directly from one serial port from the one router to other serial port of the other router. So first we'll assign the IP addresses. We will configure these IP addresses on these all routers. Then we will see how we can do the communication. So first I'm going to assign these IP which I have decided on this router, that for the fast Ethernet port I'm going to assign this IP from the same LAN network IP, and from this fast Ethernet port I'm going to assign this LAN network IP, and we are using one network IP from a serial interface to connect them together. Now the port which is directly connected to one another router, like from router 1 to router 2, we have connected directly this port. So on that port you should connect, you should have a same network IP from this port to other port, so that your one router 1 can easily communicate to router 2 within this network. So you cannot use the same different network IP from one interface of the other router, which is directly connected. So as we have configured this, and as we have decided here that we are going to use these IPs, so first we will configure these IPs on those interface of the router. So we'll start from this server 1, router 1. So I will go to the CLI. No. So first go to the privilege mode and then the config mode. Now first we configure the name for the router so that we can understand which router we are configuring. For that we use host name command, and this is, I decided this is router 1. Now after configuring the name of the router, now we will configure the interface of the router. So we have fast Ethernet port and we have one serial port. So first I'll go to the fast Ethernet port. Command is interface fast Ethernet and the port number is 0/0, as I can see here. So 0/0 and enter. Now I am in the interface mode, which is config if. Now I can go for IP address. So IP address is the command, and then the IP address which we want to configure. So we have decided here that we are going to configure 10.0.0.100. So I'll give that IP, and then I have to mention the subnet mask. If I put the question mark here, it says mention the subnet mask. So because it is class A, 255.0.0.0. Now the ports are disabled. All the ports of the routers are disabled, so we have to enable them. They are shut down, so we have to make them no shutdown. So I will give command no shutdown and enter. As I press enter, we can see here it is enabled. We can see it is getting green here because it is getting enabled. Now this port is configured. Now I'll go for this port. So I will exit from this serial fast Ethernet port. Now I will give interface command again, serial. The number for the port is 0/0. Now I'm in the interface, so IP address, and I have decided that I'll go to the 20.0.0.1. So I will give the IP 20.0.0.1. Again it is class A, so subnet mask will be this. Now again it is shut down, so for making it enabled, I will give command no shutdown. Now one more thing, it is still down because the other side is still down. So when we enable the other side, both side will be enabled. One more thing, in this side we can see the small clock symbol. That means it needs a clock rate here. So we have to configure the clock rate on those port which have this clock symbol on that in a packet tracer. But in a real machine, in a real environment, what we do, we can check the cable itself. On the cable itself, it is written there that it is a DCE side or DTE side. So whether it is DCE side or DTE side, it is written on the cable. So you can check the cable directly in a real scenario. In this packet tracer, it will indicate by this small symbol of clock. So I know this is DCE side, so I will go for clock rate. We have multiple options to choose from, but I will go not more than or less than. I'll go for 60,000 here. Now all set for this one. I will exit, and I can verify by show IP interface brief command, and I can see what I have configured. And this one is still down because the other side is still down. Now same as we configure this, we will configure the IP address for the other ports of these other routers. So let's configure that first. Now we have configured all the routers and all the interface of the routers with the IP addresses. So IP addresses are configured, all these routers are connected together. Connected together, we can verify also that this router is connected to other router or not. We can go to the router, and from the router also we can check by pinging the router. This is router 1 and we are connected to router 2 through this serial interface. And if you want to ping the router 2, so you can ping this IP 20.0.0.2, because this is the IP which is connected to router 1 from router 2. So we can do ping to 20.0.0.2. And now what it is saying here, that 20.2 is connected. You can say success rate is 100%, and here you can see exclamatory sign. It sends 5 packets, and exclamatory sign means it is connected, and if you see the dot symbol, that means it is not connected. So it is connected, that means router 1 is connected to router 2. And if you can see, if you click here in router 2, if you go to router 2, then router 2 is also connected to router 1 and router 3. So if you ping router 1, that means you can ping from this IP 20.1 which is connected to router 2. So ping 20.0.0.1. Success rate is 100%. It is connected to router 1. Then if you want to ping the router 3, so it is connected with this serial interface, and the IP for the router 3 is 40.0.0.2. So you can check by pinging it 40.0.0.2, and it is also connected. So all the routers are connected together. Now these machines are also connected together. So if I go for this machine, command prompt, and if I try to ping other machine like 10.2, it is connected, it is replying because they are in same network. If I ping 3, it is replying because they are in the same network. And is it connected to the router? So I will try to ping 100, 10.100, which is, this is the interface IP, and it is also connected. We are getting the reply. So all the machines of this network, and also they are connected to router. Now these all machines are connected together, and these machines are also connected to the router. They are getting the reply from their router interface, which is 100.10.0.0.100. And this router 1 is also connected to router 2 from this serial port, and we are getting the reply from this 20.2 IP. Now I want to check that this 10.1 machine can ping 30.1. We have that, like all the machines are connected. So can it ping 30.0.0.1? And now we are not getting the reply from 30.0.0.1. So what we are getting here is the reply from router. we are getting the reply from the router. You can see it is saying reply from the 10.0.0.100. And what is the reply? So the reply is what? Destination host unreachable. Why it is saying like this? Because router don't know about the other network. It does not know anything about this network 30. So what happened here, when you ping within the network from your machine, so your machine first checks their own network. Like when you ping from the machine, say like this machine's IP is 10.0.0.1, this machine's IP is 10.0.0.1, and the subnet mask is 255.0.0.0. So subnet mask says this is the network, and the network means this means 10. So when you ping any of these IPs which is 10.0.0.100, 10.0.0.2 or 3, so your machine checks that my network is 10 and what I'm pinging is also 10. That means they are in same network. So they don't look anywhere else, they just try to ping it, and when it is connected it gives you the reply. If it is not connected, it will give you timeout. For example, if I try to ping 10.0.0.10, which is not there, so router is not replying here. We'll get the reply directly from itself, and it says timeout. We are not getting destination host unreachable reply from the router. We are getting the reply timeout because our machine is trying to search within the network. It is not trying to search outside the network. So within the network there is no IP which is 10.0.0.10. So it is saying timeout, no reachable. But when I ping this 30 network, when I ping this IP, then what happened? My machine says our network is 10 and the IP which I am trying to connect is 30. So it is different network. So it will not be found in our network. So it is not available in our network. So what your machine do? It will send the request to router. It says there is any router is there. So router is there. They know about it. You can see the router. They have the IP of the router here, and that is important. So when they have the IP of the router, they send their request to router directly. So when I try to ping any other network IP, our request is going to the router, and router is saying what? Right now it is saying destination host unreachable. So what happens when router gets the reply? Router checks its own routing table, and the routing table has the entry of all the other networks which is there in the environment. So right now we have these other networks, like we have 30, we have 40, we have 50, 60, 70, but this router does not know anything about those networks because we have not configured anything. They just know only the network which is connected. So by default this router 1 knows only the network about 10 which is connected to fast Ethernet, and the network of 20 which is connected to serial interface. So it does not know anything about the other network, for example 30, 40, 50, 60 or 70. So it is not having anything in their routing table. And if the router does not have anything in the routing table, it will say destination host unreachable. So in the routing table of the router, making the entry of the routing table, it is called, the process is called IP routing. The IP routing means making the entry in this router's routing table, and there is a two-way, static and dynamic. Very simple. Static, that means manually we create the entries, and dynamic, we use a protocol and the protocol creates the entry dynamically, that means automatically. So right now we are seeing how we can create the entries statically, and it is called static routing, where we create the entries manually about all the other networks. So for that, first I'll go to this router 1. Now to check the current routing table of a router, we give command show IP route, and we can see it is showing only two networks which is connected, 10 and 20, and C means connected. You can see the codes here, and it says C means connected, which is directly connected. You can see it is directly connected to fast Ethernet port, This one is directly connected to serial port. So we can see this is the fast Ethernet port and this is the serial port. Now any other network, it does not know anything about it. So it is not having any entry in this routing table. So making the entry is called IP routing, and we can do it by using the static routing. The code is S, or we can use the dynamic routing, and for dynamic we use what? We use a protocol. So protocols are like this protocol: IGRP, RIP, we use EIGRP, or we can use the OSPF. So we can use these protocols to do the configuration, and they will find the route, they will find the network automatically, they will create the routing table automatically. So for creating it statically, doing the static routing, we go to the config mode, and the command is IP route. This is the command. So command means it will not change, only the change is what? The variable and the options of the command. So first this is the command, and then you have to mention the network which you want to explain, the router which you want to make an entry. So this router knows 10 and 20. Now it does not know any other network. So you have to mention each and every network one by one manually, and that is where the static routing is what? Having a drawback. If you are having a small network, it is okay, but if you are having a big network, then making the entries of every network in your all routers, not only router 1, you have to make the entries on every router of the network. So it is difficult sometimes, and it is not manageable sometimes. So it is good, it is very fast, but it is good for only small network where you don't have to manage multiple routers or multiple different networks. So I'm going to add one by one every network here. For example, we are having 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70. So let's say I want to go to this 30 network here. So first I will mention the router that we are having one network which is 30.0.0. Now when you mention the network, then you have to mention the subnet mask also. Maybe the network is subnetted, or we have done the subnetting also. We have not done subnetting here, and I have not used the subnetted IP because we are learning IP routing, we are not learning subnetting. So I make these IPs simple to understand, like 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, so that we know that these are different network. Otherwise I could have used only one 10 network and make subnetting of it, and then I have assigned IP to these different networks. So it can get some confusion. So I'm not doing that. I'm using the same IP. I'm using a complete different network for it. So we want to go to this network 30, and because we are not having subnetting, so the default subnet mask is this. Now here, next we have to mention the next hop address. Now next hop address, that means the next gateway. We can say it is the next gateway for this network. Now hop means jump, and hop address, that means first jump address also we can say. Now that means what? You have to consider, like you are sitting on router 1. You can see here you are sitting on router 1, and now you want to go to which network? So you want to go to this network. You have to think like this. So you have to go to this network 30. So where is the 30 network? It is here. 30 network is here. Now if you want to go to this network from this router 1, so where you can go? So you can go for this interface. So you can go through this interface, and when you go to this interface, so the first router you will meet is router 2, and for this router 2, the first interface you will meet is what? Serial 0/0. So when you go through this cable, so the first interface you meet will be this serial 0/0. So this will be your first hop. That means from this router to the next router you go is what? Your first hop. And first hop address is the interface address which you use to get into that router. So for getting into the router 2, you will get in from this interface serial 0/0. So this will be your first hop interface, and on this interface we are having this IP, which is what, 20.0.0.2. so this will be our first hop address. So here I will mention the first hop address for network 30 is what, 20.0.0.2. that means I am saying the router 1 that this is network 30, and if you want to go to network 30, then you can go from this IP. Now we have another option also. Let me enter this one first. So this is what I have explained. I have added one network into router 1. So now what, 10 and 20 it's already knows, and 30 I have added now. Now we have remaining network. We have remaining 40, 50, 60, 70. So now I go for 40. So again I will give command IP root, and you can see here it's a drawback of this static routing that you have to mention each and every network manually and one by one. So now this time I will say 40. The subnet mask will be this. Now again the first hop address. Now first hop address will be the same, because when I go to this network here, so again I will go from this same serial port, and the first router is also again router 2, and for entering into the router 2 the first interface will be serial 0/0 again, and the IP for that interface is again 20.0.0.2. so the same thing for this side. If I go, the first router is router 2 and the first interface IP is 20.2. so my first hop address will be always this one for this side. Now we have remaining what, 50, 60 and 70. So now again I will go for 50. So again IP root 50.0.0.0 subnet mask. Now again I am on router 1 and I want to go to this network. Now again where I will go? I will go from this route. I'll go from this network. Then what? Again the first router will be again router 2 and the first interface again same. So again my first hop address will be this same. So that means what? You can go as many as the network far, but the first will always be router 2. That means if you go to this side, so always the first router you will meet is what? Router 2. So your first hop address will always be this, because you are going into this side. Now 50 is done. Now 60 and 70 is remaining. So I will mention 60 now. IP root 60, again the same subnet mask, and again because I am going this side, so the first router is again this router 2 and the interface is again same. So the first hop address is also same. Now what I am remaining now? 70. So again I will go for 70. IP root 70 with the default subnet mask. Now again what will be the first hop address? So I am sitting on this router and I want to go to this network, and see it is far from here, but again the first router will be what? Router 2, and again the first interface will be this one. So again my first hop address will be this. Now in some cases if you don't know the first hop address, in case sometime you know these other side, you don't know the other side, maybe it is connected to the cloud and you don't know the other side. So what you can do, you can, instead of mentioning the first hop address, you can mention the exit interface. You can mention the exit interface also. Exit interface, that means if you are sitting on router 2 and if you want to go to this network, so you will go which side? You will go this side. You will go this side. you will go this side, and for going to this side, which interface you exit? You exit from this serial 0/0 interface. You will not exit from fast Ethernet 0/0. If you exit from here, you will reach to this number, network 10. But if you exit from this interface serial 0/0, you will go to this side and you will reach to this 70 network. So you can mention the first hop address, or instead of first hop address, you can even mention the exit interface. Exit interface always be your own interface of your router. So if you are sitting on router 1, so your exit interface is again your own router interface, either your fast Ethernet or either your serial interface. So it could be any, but your own interface address, and that is also the option you get here. When you give a question mark here, so you will see here that you can add the forwarding address, that is your first hop address, or if you don't know that, then you can mention your interface. Now whatever interface, it is giving you all the options, you can add any of that. Now in our case it is serial interface, so we can mention serial interface, or in any other case maybe it is Ethernet or fast Ethernet or gigabit port, so we can add those also. But I know the first hop address, so I will mention the first hop address, which is again 20.2. Now it is done. Now I will go again and check show IP route, and now I can see all the other networks are also known by the router now. So what, these two networks were connected, and now I have added these networks, and you can see the code is what? S, and S means what? It is added statically. So this is what adding the static route in your router. Now just like I added here in this router 1, I have to add it into all the other routers also. Why? Because now router 1 knows that where is the network 30, 40 and 50 and 60, 70, but these other routers don't know about this router, and they don't know about this network 10. So if any machine, like suppose this machine 10.0.0.1 sends the data to this 70, or send the data to 50 or 30 machine, so it can send this side, the data will go to this side, but because these other router don't know anything, it will not reach to the side, and it will not get the reply from that side. So we have to make sure that all these router knows about all the networks, all the available network. So for example, now I'm going to configure router 2 now. So I'll go to router 2. So when you check here show IP route, and what it knows here, so we can see that it knows only the connected network, which is 20, 30 and 40, which is connected to their serial interfaces and fast Ethernet, and it does not know anything about 10 and anything about 50, 60 or 70. So if this router gets the data from 10, then it will not reply to that, because it does not know where is the 10 network. So we have to mention to every router. So here also we have to mention it. So we'll go to configure mode, IP route. Now what it does not know, it does not know about 10. So we will mention 10 with the default subnet mask. Now for 10, now we are sitting on router 2 and we want to go to router this network. So we can go from where? We can go from this interface, and we can go from this side. So when we go from this side, so first router we will meet is router 1, and the first interface we meet is serial 0/0, and the IP of that interface is 20.0.0.1. So here what I will mention 20.0.0.1. Now 10 is done. 20, 30 and 40 it knows 20, 30 and 40. So next, what it does not know is 50. It is this network it does not know, router 2. So I will explain that one. I will add that. Now what will be the first hop address for 50? Again, you know that you are sitting on router 2 and the 50 network is here, and you want to go to the 50 network, then you will go from this side. And when you go from this side, so first router you will meet will be router 3, and the first interface you will meet is this serial 0/0, and the IP of that interface is 40.0.0.1. So our first interface, first hop address will be 40.0.0.2. Now 50 is done. Now remaining is 60 and 70. So again, IP root 60. Now again 60 is in this side, and the first router again the router 3, and the interface will be again the same. So the first hop address will be again same. Now it is remaining 70. So IP root 70, and because it is going again this side, so the first hop address will be again the same. Now I think all is done. 40 10 20 30 40 50, we can check show IP root, and we can see that it is all done. 10 20 30 40 50 60 70, all network it knows now. This router 2, 20 30 40 it knows by C, which is connected. We have mentioned, we have added this statically 10, and this 50 60 and 70. So just like we added here, we have to add it on the other routers also, like router 3, router 2, and that could be a lots of job or lots of task when you are having multiple networks. And if it is a complex network, like it is a simple straight linear network, so we get the easily first hop address we are getting. But if it is complex and connected together network, if it is in a like mesh, all the routers are connected to different router, and you may have multiple paths to go to the other router, then you have to choose the best path manually, and you have to decide by selecting the best path by using the first hop address. So it could be a mistake, sometime you can go misconfiguration, you can do forgot something. So because what you are adding it manually, you can make a problem, you can make, and it is like a human error, and it can be confusing when you are having a big network. So I have configured the router T2. Now I'm going to configure the same way. I'm going to configure router 3 and 4 also. So after configuring the router 4 final, so now all the routers, router 1 2 3 4, knows about all the other networks. And this is what static routing, because we added all the network entries manually. Now we can ping from anywhere to anywhere. Like I can ping from this machine to all the other machines of all the other networks, because now it knows, this router 1 knows about all the networks, and other routers also knows about this network. So we can send the packet and we can receive the packet also. And when we do the ping, so ping do what? Ping send the packet and receive the reply. So previously when I try to ping this network 30.1, previously when I try to ping from this machine to this machine, from network 10 to network 30, it was not getting, it was saying destination host unreachable, because router does not know about it. But now router knows about it, and now when I ping, we will get the reply. Now first packet it drops, but rest of the packets we got the reply. If I try again, we will not drop any packet, and we can see the reply. So I can ping any of the IP from this network, network 30, any of these like 30.1, 30.2, 30.3, and also I can ping now the other network also, like 50.1, 50.2, 50.3. So I can ping 50.0.0.2 or 1, which is this network. So first time when you ping, the first packet drops, but rest of the packets does not drop. And I can ping other net IPs of 50 also, 50.2, 50.3, and also I can ping that 70 network also. 70 means 70.1, 70.2. That means from this network we are pinging to machines of this network. Now because all the routers knows about all the other networks, we are getting the reply. We are getting the reply. That means a packet is going from this router to this router to this router to this router and reaching this machine, and then the reply is coming from this router to this router to this router to this router to this machine. When you do ping, your packet goes round trip, like it goes on to that machine and then reverse, it goes the reply from that machine, and it is coming and going because all the router knows properly about the route. So we are getting the reply, and we are getting the reply from all the other machines, from all the other networks. And that is what the static routing is all about, to connect two different networks from different country, different zone, different continent. Maybe the router 1 is in US, the other router 2 and router 3 and router 4 is on other, or in other area. So we can still connect them together, and we can connect them by using the WAN network here. But right now we are not using WAN, we are directly connecting them together for doing the testing purpose. So this is static routing. It is very difficult if you are having a big network, so it is not easy to manage. But the fastest routing we have is what? Static routing. It is very fast, but it can be a problem when you are having a big network. It is not manageable. It is human error. We can make human error. So based on human error, you can get a jumble. You can get lots of trouble, and troubleshooting can also be problem. And one more problem is like, one more drawback is like, if you lost one network, like if you want to go to some network like from 10 and I want to go to 70, if I have multiple paths and I can go from one to other path, if one path is goes down, so manually it will not take the other path. We have to configure it manually. But in dynamic routing, it can take the other path automatically. So next time we will see the dynamic routing. And dynamic routing, that means we will see how we can use some protocols, and that protocols will do what? They will configure, they will find out the path, they will create the routing table manually. So this is static routing. Configuration is easy, but it is lots of configuration if you are having lots of network.